What's up, everyone? So, if you can guess from my title right here of growing up in the 2000s, you can already guess what I'm going to be talking about here. So, for those of you who were born either in the late, very late 90s or the extremely early 2000s, you would happen to have pretty much the whole decade of the 2000s from 2000 to 2009 being your whole childhood, basically. As someone as such here, I'm gonna give you my perspective on what I could recall about the 2000s. So let's begin. The fashion of the 2000s was pretty split between bright and dark colors. Yeah, for males, you had the baggy jeans. That's a staple in the youth, with a very large sweatshirt or large casual t-shirt was the main style. Unless you're one of those wannabe gangsters who wear gold chains around the ginormous shades, talking in the language of the streets. Heck, maybe for some, you still had the 90s haircut left over for the early years. Girls were more into the berets and crop tops, or most likely look anything like Paris Hilton. Nah, the cliche were in the Mean Girls movie were more believable. Edgier styles were common, but I cannot remember much of that. At worst, you could look like a young Kelly Osbourne or Christina Aguilera from her stripped era, or those guys. Yeah, cringy. Okay, for the 2000s movies, I'm just gonna go over which one was the highest grossing one in each year. So, 2000, you had Mission Impossible 2. 2001, you had Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. 2002, you had Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. 2003, you had Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. 2004 was Shrek 2. 2005 was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. 2006 was Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. 2007 was Pirates of the Caribbean, At World's End. 2008 was The Dark Knight. And 2009, most famously, Avatar. Okay, let's get into the music of the decade. For one thing, let's start with the biggest blonde bombshell there was, Britney Spears, whose popularity was pretty much the dominant in the teen pop world, with only her rivals to be, I would say, is Christina Aguilera, Kelly Clarkson, and Hilary Duff. And let's not forget about this Canadian girl, the anti-Britney, Avril Lavigne, whom I will say is actually not that bad of a music star compared to what I've been hearing much about her. She's actually pretty nice for all I can tell. This is the best feeling. This innocence is brilliant. I hope that it'll stay. This moment is perfect. And before Justin Bieber, the world was into Jesse McCartney. Girls wanted him, and boys wanted to be him. If anything, he is definitely much more better than Justin Bieber for all I care, really. And last but not least, here's Lifehouse, the only band from the 2000s that I can recall liking more than 3 songs. And hey, they're no one-hit wonders at least. Okay, let's go over a brief glimpse of some of the well-known events that have occurred during this decade. On September 11, 2001, the terrorist group Al-Qaeda had hijacked two aircraft and crashed into the World Trade Center. At the same time, a similar attack was done to the Pentagon, with a fourth one being thwarted. This was the deadliest terrorist attack in human history and a dark day for the US. 9/11 sparked the war on terror. This battle is still going on and had included major wars in the Middle East such as the Iraq War, which had only recently ended in 2011. In 2004, a large earthquake had struck the Indian Ocean, causing massive tsunamis under a magnitude of 9.3. A year later, Hurricane Katrina struck in late August, causing massive damages from landfalls, floods, and windstorms, resulting in the deaths of over 1,200 and $108 million in damages. Did I mention there was an economic recession occurring near the end of the year also? That did not recover until around 2013. Yeah, it seems such a downer to end the decade with that. Oh wait, there were these two presidents. Well, George Bush mainly was the one for this era. Now let's talk over some of the stuff that many of us, I'm sure, could remember from our youth, really. Such as the home computer. Big, bulky, slow sometimes, I may add. And that came with CD games of the era. And creative screensavers. In fact, here's what a 2000s Apple computer would look like. Having a laptop was a bit easier, but they sure were thick and space consuming still. And with the rise of PC came digital downloading, where music on the web can be taken without legal permission. How cool is that? Cell phones look more like this. Flip it up or over, and you had the keypad to text. The screens were much smaller though. Or maybe you just end up with something like this one. Cell phones were and still are a big thing though. Bouncy balls were a minor obsession for me and my elementary classmates, and soccer boppers. I swear that commercial is still stuck in my head. Nerf guns were definitely a cool toy many of us wanted, and Neopets. I have not much to say. The rise of reality TV were becoming a new long-lasting fad. Ugh. Websites on the internet I used to visit frequently were Yahooligans, now taken down, and Funbrain, now revamped. You had the best cartoons that were worth waking up early on Saturday mornings from Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon,
Nick.com. Click now and use your power.
and Kids WB. That was my jam.
A jam-packed morning featuring brand new series premieres of
The Mummy, the animated series, R.L. Stein's The Nightmare Room, Yu-Gi-Oh! King of Games,
all new episodes of your favorite returning Kids WB shows.
X-Men Evolution, Jackie Chan Adventures,
Plus, one more thing! We'll take you to the next level of Pokemon excitement with the all-new Johto League Champions. This is your invitation to the Kids WB big premiere next Saturday beginning at 8, 7 Central and Pacific.
And last but not least, MySpace. And so were every other social media platforms that were just beginning as our childhoods were ending. So that was how pretty much I would describe how I grew up in the 2000s. Maybe it wasn't for all of you. I mean, mainly because this was mainly from what I could find out from what the decade was like and from what I can remember. So for any of you those who complain about that I may have skipped over a lot, or I really shrank down, or I even butchered a lot of things here, well, go make your own research for all I care really. I was just doing this for my own fun. See you around.